Hello, friends. As of recently, I've seen an uptick in client questions about what to do from a financial safeguarding standpoint when traveling, especially abroad. For those of you who are not aware, I had firsthand experience my junior year in college with living abroad for a year in a city notorious for pickpocketing. Fortunately, I was one of the lucky ones, but here are some things to think about while traveling in general to help safeguard your situation. First off, typically before a major trip, I like to look at back home what I have checked off. So one thing I like to focus in on is I call it my ICE or my in case of emergency contact list. Think about how loved ones would be able to get a hold of you should something occur, where you'd have specific documents located, for example, your estate planning documents, and any other items necessary for them to make decisions on your behalf. I don't think it's a bad idea to consider loved ones having your airline itinerary, the hotel or the residency where you're staying, if you plan on staying there for a length of time, especially, and just the itinerary for the different maybe day trips or different hotels or countries you're going to be staying in. Obviously, make sure to document a list of all your investments, assets, and liabilities separately. So why is this important? God forbid something happened to you. I tell clients in general, I've said this to a lot of you before, it's good exercise to make practice of, even whether you're traveling or not, to have that list available with a trusted individual, should they be put in a situation where they have to make decisions for you, knowing where your investments are located, whether it be your bank accounts, understanding your liabilities, understanding your credit cards, maybe a list of your credit cards involving debts, what can be canceled, what may not be, membership subscriptions, whether it be a gym or whatnot, things of that nature. So I don't think that's a bad idea to have that as well. I also say, and I'm sure some of you do this, is you contact your credit card company prior to traveling, especially outside the US. Let them know when you'll be leaving, what countries you'll be staying in, visiting, etc., things of those. And in terms of currency exchange, note that it is typically costly to do so in airports, especially international. So it's not a bad idea to consider converting some currency here. For those of you who are AAA members or have family members that are, if you give them enough time, last I checked, this might have been subject to change, but usually there is not a currency conversion fee to do so, rather than handing over that unnecessary expense to airports or cities when entering those territories. Granted, I know there may be some situations where you need to do so. So next, when it comes to the actual travel itself, a lot of this is up for debate whether to carry a debit card or not. So understand that typically with debit cards, so not credit cards, but typically with debit cards, if they are stolen, keep in mind you're typically on the hook for the cash that's associated with that debit card banking account, unless your bank decides to make friendly exceptions. Credit cards, however, usually only have a maximum charge you're on the limit of. I believe it's $50. And this is according to the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau guidelines. In my personal situation, I have clients ask, what do you like to do? So let's say it's my wife and I that are traveling abroad, for example. We typically bring 2 credit cards with us. And here's a couple of things to note in terms of actually how we carry them. So especially if you're visiting countries that might be known to be pickpocketing or pickpocketing friendly, I should say, I tend to carry one on me and she carries one separate from me on her. Okay, I don't have hers, she doesn't have mine, in the event, forbid, one is lost and or stolen. I also make sure, this is important, to write down elsewhere, could be a slip of paper or whatnot, phone numbers for your credit card carriers, along with the credit card number. In the event that your credit card is stolen and or your phone, this day and age, a lot of people keep those wallets that have the cash in them and have your actual credit cards and have actually your phone in the one in the same. So usually somewhere else, I like to keep that true emergency list. If I need to get a hold of the credit card carrier, their phone number, and I need to have the credit card number as well in the event that it's stolen, and have emergency contacts as well written down and or memorized. Clients ask me about cash when my wife and I travel. Believe it or not, we actually like to bring significant amounts of cash in the event that we have an issue with our credit cards or compromised or stolen. I do like to keep the cash in separate areas. So typically what we do when we travel is I keep some on me, my wife keeps some on her, and usually there's reserves elsewhere in a secure location. When carrying cash to credit cards, or some who decided to carry debit cards, I always say be aware of your surroundings, right? A wallet in your back pocket is usually an easy snatch, especially depending on the country that you're visiting. I've had several clients that have contacted me and they've talked about keeping their cash in their shoes. That's a very popular thing. And then some that use those travel belts, if you're familiar with them, to keep cash in them. So overall, the big thing is just to be aware of your surroundings while you're enjoying your travel. So every situation is different, but these are some things to think about as you, and you can pick up and choose which ones you like, which ones you don't like here. Thanks, everyone. I hope this helps, and safe travels wherever your journey may take you.